Hi everyone, back again into the Wandering Minds. As earlier episode, which is the season one, talking about the human light bulb. This basically, as I mentioned in the previous video, it talked about my Vipassana trip to Pahang, and from there, question came: what makes me to be Siva, right? So it led to a write-up which I've actually shared in the previous video. If you guys want, you can actually go and watch. It's entitled The Human Light Bulb, Combustion Cells and Path to Liberation. Again, as I mentioned, I've asked a couple of other questions to go even deeper to find out. So just to do a quick recap, if you see a light shines. A light, when you switch on, it shines, and the shining of the light looks very continuous. But if you go to the micro level, there's constant combustion and extinguishing that's taking place all the time in a very micro level. And this is actually proven by when you use electricity, there will be a thing called electricity bill. So that flickering of energy that comes and goes also happens to us. That itself basically lights us up. When you look at the macro level of us, if you go to the micro level of the human cells, that's what's happening. And that's what we spoke about in the previous episode. So I went deeper to ask Gemini again on next question. If electricity lights up a bulb, what lights up our consciousness? The answer that it gave is this is a bridge between biology meets the profound. If electricity is the fuel that translates into light via filament, what is the fuel for our awareness? From both a scientific and meditative perspective, like the one you explored during Vipassana retreat, the answer can be viewed through three distinct layers. Number one, biological electricity, electrochemical flux. On a purely physical level, what lights up the brain is a constant storm of electromechanical signal. The power source, your mitochondria produces adenosine triphosphate, ATP, the cellular energy that allows neuron to fire. This is going to the biology of a small, there are trillions in our cells, which is a powerhouse. The transition, this energy moves via neurotransmitters and action potentials. When these trillions of cells synchronize their vibration, awareness emerges. That's how we become. So, in order for the mitochondria, this is on biology, to basically get the electrons to be going around, it needs food and also oxygen, and the process happens within the bulb. The brain acts as a hardware. If the hardware is damaged or the electricity, that is oxygen, glucose, which I spoke about, is cut off, the light of consciousness appears to go out. That's why we go unconscious. Number two, the evolutionary light, the senses, the doorway. As you noted, with epigenetics, cells respond to the environment. In this sense, consciousness is lit up by the input it receives. Without the receivers, that is sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, and the mind itself, consciousness would have nothing to illuminate. So you need something to illuminate, then you know it's there. Our senses provide the friction or the combustion necessary to create experience. Just as bulb needs a vacuum and filament to produce light, our consciousness needs the filament of the senses to turn raw energy into recognizable identity. That's why when you see someone, you're just in a daze, people are passing by. If you don't know them, you don't know them. But the moment you see someone that you know, it's like a resistance that goes through your memory that you tend to find out, hey, that is Adam coming to me. I should say hello to him. Number three, the spiritual source, pure awareness, the power grid. In many philosophical and meditative tradition, consciousness isn't produced by the body. It's channeled by it. The analogy, think of the sun. The sun shines regardless of whether there is a mirror to catch it. In this view, pure consciousness is the sun. The human bulb, our body and ego, the sankharas, which I spoke earlier, act as a colored glass casing around the bulb. The light is always there, but it only becomes visible as a unique individual when it passes through our specific cellular structure. The switch. What actually flips the switch is prana, our life force. This is the subtle energy that bridges the gap between the dead matter and the atoms and living experience of the being. The electric bill of the ego. The reason we feel exhausted or dim is often due to our ego, sankara. The ego is high resistance. It creates a friction, heat, and smoke in the form of craving and aversion. You know very well. I always ask my clients, my family members, how do we know we have ego? Well, when you meet someone or you are in front of any incident, when you start having sensation, you know that there's something brewing deep inside. That is the ego raising its head. When you practice equanimity, you are essentially reducing the resistance in your internal wiring. You become a superconductor. The light doesn't just stay on, it becomes clearer, cooler, and eventually merges with the source of the electricity itself. Well, that's what I wanted to share with you about the topic about electricity lights up the bulb and what lights up our consciousness. So the next episode will go deeper. We'll be talking about, prana and all that stuff. So these are basically life force. So if you like this and you feel like giving a comment, please give a comment. Again, this is my wandering mind going through my data in Gemini, which keeps my conversation with it, and this is what it expounded. So same thing, I would also ask you guys to be positively wandering out there to find out your queries to be answered by using a highly intellectual being like the AI, where there's millions of brains that's bringing together information. So wish you all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.